evening and welcome to Signature Evening. It's another beautiful evening. Thank you for joining us every single day from Mondays to Friday on Signature TV to have an unwind with us on Signature Evening. Of course, whenever it's the evening time, we are here to unwind, take a break from the whole stress we had for the day, and also catch up on the things that has been happening worldwide. I am Quinsley Rowland, and of course, Lily is in the building.
All right. Yes. Good evening and welcome to Signature Evening. My name is Christopher. Lily, tonight is going to be exciting. We've got capable guests that will be doing justice to what we shall be discussing tonight.
Absolutely.
So all you have to do is just stick around. Don't go nowhere.
Okay, and in the highlights for today, our first conversation is Waec and NECO goes CBT. I know this is not the first time we are having to hear this particular news, but of course we're going to still talk about it because it still concerns us, and we'll see the future of this particular development and how it's going to affect us, rather people that are going to be partaking in this exam.
Yeah, and also we have NYC and life in camp. But for those that have gone for service and those that are still serving, how has life been? Are you coping the new minimum wage that was increased? How you enjoy life? We're going to have all of these discussions just this evening.
Okay, and don't forget we have our regulars on the show, news and events. This is where we, bring back the stories that we've had from time, on Signature Evening, things that you must have missed out, maybe when it was aired earlier, just so we just catch up on this event that's happened before. And afterwards, we have Political Circle. Don't forget to follow us on all the social media handles. We're always on YouTube and on SLTV Channel 265. After the break, we will have our conversation for tonight commence. Stay with us.
We are local.
International communities observing
Why the meat market is in chaos. People are...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken the move by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Welcome back to Signature Evening. We'll go into our quote for today. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or self-confidence. This is coming from Robert Fried. The Federal Ministry of Education has confirmed that both the West African Examinations Council (Waec) and the National Examinations Council (NECO) will begin computer-based testing (TBT) for objective papers by November 2025, with full digital migration, including essay components, set for 2026. This initiative aims to modernize Nigeria's examination system and reduce malpractice in public examinations. The Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Tunji Alausa, made this announcement during an inspection visit to Sascon International School, Abuja, where NECO conducted its first CBT-based senior secondary school certificate examination, SSCE. Nigerians, especially the students, are asking, is Nigerian education system ready for this innovation, considering many avoidable glitches encountered by this sector recently? And today, we shall be looking at Waec Goes CBT, that's computer-based test, and of course, we will not be doing this alone. Quinsley will take this from
Okay, so our guest who has joined us in the studio is Reverend Edwin Nnamani, who is the former Minister of former Deputy Minister, former Deputy Director of Education. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for
joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure.
Yeah. Before we go to the conversation, just in a few seconds, what was the experience? How did it feel being Deputy Director of Education?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's a pleasant experience because you in education, you grow from the cradle to where you are now. It has been a wonderful experience because a lot of exposures Before then, I was once area inspector of education,
Okay.
zonal inspector of education, principal inspector, chief inspector, before coming to the deputy director. So just one step for me to become a director. So it makes me, I find myself doing the work of a director in education. I find myself minuting letters to the commissioner of education. As a deputy director, I find myself attending functions, representing the honorable commissioner of education, what I think that I may not do before. So because I'm a deputy director, letters are minuted to me. I go outside the Enugu, Soka, Uji River, just to represent the honorable commissioner for education on policy matters. So it's very demanding. And I find myself mingling with timbers and calibers as far as education is concerned, because there you will speak for the honorable commissioner, you will attend to issues, you can visit schools, and you will brief for principals as representing the honorable commissioner for education. So it's a demanding task, which means you have to be yourself to represent the ministry, because the commissioner represents the ministry. And as deputy director, when you do the work very well, the commissioner will be proud of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes he will delegate you to attend other functions.
Okay, so our conversation is Waec goes CBT. It's been stated clearly that from November this year, it's going to be made manifest. And what exactly are the potential benefits of having Waec and NECO go CBT, apart from the paper and pen based exam we've been having?
Okay, thank you. Actually, the world is becoming a global village because of digitalizations. When CBT simply means a computer-based test. And if Waec and NECO going CBT is a welcome development, because it will go a long way to minimize the cost in production of papers. As it is now, because of the economic situation, printing of textbooks, papers are becoming expensive. In fact, by going to CBT, it will save a lot of cost. And it will minimize examination malpractice, copying paste, we minimize. I'm privileged this year, 2025, I'm privileged to be among the monitoring team that's coordinated the just concluded Waec by Post-Primary School Management Board. I was a team leader. I managed Group 1. This concluded. I want to let you know that the fact that they are making use of CBT, it helps a lot, because it will minimize a lot of hustles, it will minimize cost, it will help the teachers even in the school to have less headache. Because by the time we are going CBT, students will concentrate. It will go a long way to make the students to study very well. Today, you see, our students are no more studying. They play with their phone. As I want to let you know, in Enugu State, for example, phone is banned in examination. They don't allow phone. If you are caught, any student who is caught with phone, the phone will be seized, and you pay a penalty before you collect back the phone. So one of the benefits is minimize examination malpractice. It makes the student to study very hard, because you're on your own. The question you are answering in particular, the questions you are answering are not the same. If three of us are sitting in a row, my number one question is not your number one. So there are different questions, which means you are on your own. It will increase reading culture. It will make the students to stay in the school. It will make the parents to boast that if a child comes up with credit in biology, you know that child merits credit in biology. Not somebody going for engineering courses and you make physics A, but at the end of the day, the person cannot defend it. So it minimizes, it makes our students, at the end of the day, you will not produce half-baked graduates. You produce people that can test their onions. So
if we're talking about examination or practice, we've seen even officials help in allowing that happen. What difference will it make having the CBT process? Will it curb it? Because it's still the same officials that conducted or supervised during the paper and pen process will still be the people in the examination halls with computers.
Good. Now, it's all about a new mindset. There's need to have what we call ethical orientation. Ethical orientation, whereby the supervisors, they will be tested and trusted. I understand what you say, because it's the same Nigerians. It's all about ethical orientation. You see, I'm sorry to say this, the Nigerian setting is something else. You discover that even in these schools, the principals, some teachers abet examination practice, because they feel that the more students perform very well in their school, the more there will be more admission of students.
Yeah.
If they get good results, at the subsequent admission, they will increase. That's what goes around that comes around. At the end of the day, they will be written off because by the time they enter the universities, the chips will be down. So like we rightly said, if you go back, it's quite that these same Nigerians, they need to be an ethical orientation, whereby we call a spade a spade. Some of these teachers that are in the school who are doubling as couriers. The word courier means carrying information, carrying answers. They go outside, they'll solve it, they'll bring it in. What of the Waec that produces the paper? There are leakages of exams. This 2025, I was among the monitoring team. This 2025, I was among the monitoring team and discovered that each time we go to the hall, even somebody tell us that the paper has leaked. The paper, who leaked it? It's not the teacher that has supervised it. It's not those people that are helping to operate the CBT. The paper leaked somewhere. Because what you don't know, you are not working in Waec. But Waec papers are leaking. NECO papers are leaking. It's not you that you are here in Signature Television. It's the people that, because it's the enemy within that will help the enemy without to have an answer. So there's an enemy within. That's what I'm talking about, ethical orientation. So the Nigerian setting, there's need to create an orientation among the supervisors, those who are handling this, our children with CBT, because they are the people that are close to them. Even though we're using CBT, they can still aid and abet in examination malpractice, but it will be minimal.
Okay, now let's look at the use of CBT for these exams, Waec and NECO.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to affect the way the questions are presented, or shall I say structured to the students?
Of course, it's going to affect it, because the questions are not going to be the same.
In the manual form?
Yes, if it's in biology, and the number one question says, what is photosynthesis? Every hundreds of the students will have number one question as what is photosynthesis. But in CBT, if the question is starting with photosynthesis, in another student's own, it starts with ecology. Another person starts with circulation of blood. Another person is skeleton. So anybody who is giraffing, you're wasting your time because it goes with time. They're not the same. Yes, and the options will not be the same answer. So the CBT is a welcome development, but then the student has to study very well. And this part of the world, let us be frank for ourselves. This CBT is a new innovation. Look at people here in Nigeria. How many families have computer? How many families can have access to Android phone? Think of somebody who is at a village at Ugogonike, somebody who is at Achi in Oji River, and somebody who is at Akuke. If you go there, they have not seen, they are saying, if some of them that have computer in the school, the computer that they have in the school are just for test running. The student, if you ask the students will tell you that they have not been making use of the computer, that is just theory. But when the actual exam comes, some of them will go outside to learn. So there's need to give our people time for this CBT so that it will not have problem. Because CBT for somebody who have not seen computer for the first time, he may not even know how to click and how to say submit. He may finish the question without saying submit. The thing will just hang there. So there's need for empowering our people. How I wish that some of these our politicians will come and supply some of the schools with computer sets, even tablets. Because some of the children in the village, I'm talking about village school, they don't have access to Android phone. They don't even know how to click submit. But they have just written beautiful questions. Some of them are novice, and it will affect them. So I'm praying that there's need for some of our politicians and the government to empower these our schools. Because we have private schools, we have mission schools. Government should not only concentrate on government schools. I mean, the Ministry of Education. Because when you visit some schools like CIC, His Grace, HRC, Methodist College, you see computer labs, about 50 computers. But go to private schools like Solid Foundation, go to some private schools that are even very small in the village. They will have just one computer, and that one computer may be outdated.
Okay, but looking at the thing now, we have till November for this to commence, and we have schools that don't even have a proper computer lab. We have schools that are in hundreds, and then the computers that they have are about 50.
Yes.
And these exams are timed, and it should be written in one day. With all these loopholes, how are we supposed to meet up with the deadline? How are these schools going to cope? How are the students going to cope? People that are not conversant with the computer, you come to write an exam and you're faced with something foreign. How will you cope in this new situation?
We just need the grace of God. And when you talk of the grace of God, we need help from the government, because these children that are in private school and mission school are all our children. Like now, Peter Mba is the governor of Enugu State. Maybe Peter Mba must have gone to one village school before he went to university. Are you getting my point now? So which means those village schools should be taken into cognizance. Government should make budget for those schools that are in the rural areas because November is around the corner. This is August. Let's be realistic. If you say November is around the corner and there's no measure, no step is being taken, by next month, school is starting by September 15, October, November. I mean, let's tell ourselves the truth. It's only by miracle.
Is it not better to extend this?
I think it's better to extend it because as I'm talking to you now, there are thousands of, we have many schools in Enugu State now, and many of them are private schools. If you go to Nsukka, the private school in Nsukka is more than the government school in Nsukka. If you go to, we have 6 educational zones. We have Enugu, Agban, Uji River. We have Enugu, Agban. Enugu goes beyond this Enugu. And if you go to Agban zone covers Enugu South and Enugu North. We have Udi. Udi covers Eziago. Ogu covers Aniri. So 6 educational zone. We have Nsukka and Obolafo. And if you go to Nsukka, the private school in Nsukka is more than the government school. So there's need for government partnership because November is around the corner. And let me tell you, have it at the back of your mind that these private schools are where people rush because they have miracle centers. When you say miracle center, where people feel they can make the exam. So we are talking about 50. Don't be surprised that you may find a school in Nsukka or Agban zone that you have 300 candidates in the hall and the computers are 50. How are they going to, are they going to write an exam in batch? By writing an exam in batch, you tell somebody that photosynthesis is number 1. No? Prepare.
So either way, it's still leaked.
Yes, so there's need for government to assist, or some of the politicians who are in charge of, in Enugu we have 3 senatorial zones. These territories, we have senators. So they can empower these schools by providing them the necessary CBT because not just buying computer, you must build the computer lab. The CBT has components. As you are staying here now, I will not be seeing what you are doing, not just placing computers. So there's need for government assistance. There's need for non-governmental organizations to assist. If this thing must take place by November or let it be extended.
So are you saying that the Minister of Education is not proactive, to see this before making such pronouncements, giving such deadlines? Because this is something we can liken to that of the end subsidy. Same thing, because you're ending subsidy without any pre-information that put people in track and put themselves together. It's almost something is happening now. So are you saying the Ministry of Education, they're not proactive enough to put things together before making such pronouncements?
I will not say that they're not proactive because it's all about planning. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. There can be adjustment. When you make a proposal that you want to reach Lagos by this time, and finally the car cannot take you to Lagos, you can extend the journey. Instead of coming to Lagos by 4 p.m., you can be coming to Lagos 6 p.m. Let them say, let's shift it maybe till 2026. It will give enough platform for preparation. Because preparation, these are our children. We don't want to fail, especially those who know what they're doing. What the federal government should do is, it's the federal government that made the pronouncement. I cannot say that they're not productive. Maybe they see the urgency in the system, a lot of cheating, a lot of malpractice. When I say malpractice, I mean heavy malpractice. There's impersonation. You see somebody from UNEC writing economics for somebody who is in secondary school. You see somebody who is doing medicine from Oka. There's one I had. Somebody from either Oka or Waec coming to Enugu to write physics. This is an undergraduate to somebody who is doing medicine coming to write. In fact, one professor told me personally that they saw a student from another university coming to write for somebody who is doing medicine in another university. So a person can pass level 200 and the person was caught. So can you see the level of, it's not just copying from your neighbor, no, arranging somebody coming from another university to come and write. Can you see the extent of malpractice? And in order to mitigate this, the CBT is something, in fact, let me tell you, as a stakeholder in education, universities, UNN and Nsukka, they are now writing the exam with CBT.
But very Reverend, I'm sorry to come in,
Yeah.
but I know we are trying to manage words, if I'm to use it that way, because you're saying it's not them being proactive,
Yeah.
it's just to do some adjustment.
Yes.
But you are in the system.
Yeah, I mean,
Can we get the understanding if there is any plan B, any plans put in place to manage any circumstances that may likely arise? Because there's a possibility from speculations that there may be mass failure due to inadequacies here and there, loopholes, because many of the students don't even know how to use computer, let alone having access to them. So what are the plan Bs? What are the adjustment plans put together let's assume they are proactive. Because for you to come up with something, it's all agree to the federal government. You shouldn't just look at the urban areas.
Yes.
The rural areas should be the integral part of your thoughts.
Basically, the plan B might be that the process may be shifted.
Okay.
Yes, basically, because examination is a serious issue, because it's a yardstick used for evaluation. And at the end of the day, the students will look forward to sit for an exam. So the plan B is that it's likely going to be shifted because the students are going to be considered. Because as we're talking about the urban, we're talking about the rural.
Yeah.
CBT is the in thing now. If undergraduates are using CBT to show that there's no exam malpractice, of course, those that are...
It's actually some exams, so it's not every exam.
Not every exam.
Exactly.
Not every exam. Like year one students in UNN this year, year one students, they use CBT. I was asking somebody, say, is it because of the number of candidates that are in their department? They say, no, it's not because there are 200 or 150. It's just to make sure that is to checkmate some malpractice, not to help the lecturer to mark the paper, but to checkmate some malpractice. Because if there are 150 scripts, it will be too much for the lecturer. But they will tell that it's not because of the lecturer can mark it. Instead, he will burn the midnight oil. But to checkmate some malpractice, to make sure that those students have been coming for lectures.
Okay, so let's look at these computers you've provided.
Yes.
How well is it going to serve? We've seen how it's happened in JAM, where you have JAM for just few days, and you have everybody writes this exam under how many days, and we still have problems of mass failure. The computer's failing, it goes off in the middle of the exam, and so many cases like that. Waec is something that spans for about 2 to 3 weeks,
Yes.
and we have hundreds of students writing at the same time. Now we're talking about the sites having problems, maybe crashing or whatever, and then the computer systems are going to be provided. Are they even good enough to be used to write these exams, or would they leave these students in the situation of mass failure that we've had in the past years?
I think nobody plans to fail. Nobody plans to fail. I think the arrangement is that it will go a long way to help in planning and writing of exams. You know, exam is all about evaluation. But looking at the way it is now, I want to submit boldly, I want to make bold to submit that there's need for the government to think twice about this issue of CBT, looking at the duration.
Yeah.
Duration, look at, when you're talking, November is just few months now. This is August, am I correct? So November is very close. There's need to adjust the duration. Because when you're talking about mass failure, even without CBT, there's still mass failure when they don't read. You know, without CBT, when people are writing manually, when they copy the same thing, you know that those people who are marking this in the experts, they still mass failure. You know, the recent Waec was released, the result was released. From 38%, there was hue and cry everywhere. People were shouting everywhere. What happened? Before you know what happened, it was adjusted. They say it's now 60-something percent. So there was mass failure, and parents were not happy. Students equally were not happy. So if you look at the whole thing on the ground, that the government should exercise restraints. Rome was not built in a day. Looking at our climate, we are not Canada, we are not Europe, we are not France. This is Africa.
Yeah.
And not just Africa. Some Africa is ahead of us. Ghana is ahead of us. Burkina Faso. We have started this thing late, but we need to take time. Rome was not built, but I believe that 1,000 steps starts with 1,000 miles starts with a step. Let's take it gradually so that our children will cope. Hurrying it will not help us. Because just like I talking about, what of power supply? There's a erratic power supply in the country. Even if you have this 100 system for 100 students, how sure are you that there's going to be power supply? How many have a solar system? Do you get the point now? Even if you have it, the terrain where they are writing it, you know, I think you see what happened this year in 2025 for Waec. You know, I was telling you, I monitored the Waec. I was among the monitors of the Waec. This just concluded Waec. The day they wrote English, you saw what happened. There was technical, you know, we use the word technical hitch. English was written 8 p.m. People said that the paper leaked and it was reset. And all the Waec supervisors rushed to the center, the custodian, to carry paper. 12, 1, 2, they say paper. They used flight to bring down the paper. By the time they carried the paper, you can imagine somebody going to Ugogonike. You can imagine somebody going to Isuzo from Enugu here. By the time the students started writing, some started using candlelight at night. So if you look at it now, you find out that we have to look at some technicalities. Look at that. This thing will not be jam-packed in one day. Just need to give time That is the plan B we are talking
Yeah,
about.
it's a good thing that you brought this up because I was also planning to ask this same question. This happened about 2 months ago, in Delta State, Asaba precisely,
Okay.
where some students were seen using torchlight lamps to sit for the exams.
Some even bring in handset.
Beautiful. Now, where I'm coming in now is that now, since these students are expected to use the CBT, right, to take the exams, should there be technical challenges? Should there be no fuel since there's no power supply? Should there be any of those kind of challenges that delay the time they're supposed to be done with the exams? And some sets, since they may be in batches, because I don't want to believe all of them will sit for these exams immediately the same period of time. So they'll do them in batches, right?
They'll do them in batches,
Now, if
yeah.
the first 2, 3, 4, 5 batches are done, and then we have the last batch, and they have one of those glitches, network or what have you, and they have to wait. And these batch, they are supposed to take the next ones, right? They will likely must have got information, the previous sets, that this is the answer to this is the answer to that. What then will happen? Are they still going to sit for that same exam that same day, even though it's at night, just to avoid compromising the paper or something? What's going to be the result? Because the idea that the federal government and the Ministry of Education is coming with is that they're trying to curb corruption in exams, right? Malpractices. So how can this be managed?
I want to say that federal government should help the state governments to monitor this in bomber to bomber. Because federal government has just made a policy that by November, here we go. We are going CBT. We are going digital. It is easy to say. Let me tell you, corruption has become endemic in this country. I'm a servant of God, and I make bold to say corruption is our problem. Let me tell you, do you know that even right inside the exam hall, even with the CBT somebody who is corrupt will still be corrupt.
Yeah, definitely.
And because of that, there's need to check the caliber of people or the kind of people that are helping to monitor this exam. Because if these computers are used, they will still tell you that there are technical hitches. They will say that there's no fuel. And money will be exchanging hands.
This corruption will even come in.
Yes, corruption will come in because this corruption has eaten deep into the fabrics. How can you tell me that paper is leaked? Where is paper coming from? Is it coming from Signature Television? Is it coming from Waec? It's leaking from where they printed it. Somebody will just film it now that we have phone and just say it, and not even when it's coming from the machine, just snap 4 pages mathematics because they have calculated the money for him. Corruption has eaten the fabric of this country, and we need the grace of God to help us. We need new Nigerians, like the Nigerians when Tunde Idiabo was the deputy president of this country, when Buhari was. We need the Nigerians of that type, where people will be afraid to commit evil because they fear God. Because this question you ask now, even when you are bringing them in batches, my brother, they will still be technical hitches. When we are doing the name, think you know the name.
Yes.
Sometimes they tell that there's no fuel.
Yes, you
And
have
people
to
contribute
pay.
money.
Yes,
I contributed
yes.
money, NIN, and immediately they finish 7%, they say there's no fuel. People will go because that NIN, for you to collect money from the bank, you need the NIN. You just say, I take 300, I take 500. That day you will go with your NIN.
Imagine.
When government says it's free of charge.
Imagine.
So this Nigeria, my brother, there will be technical hitches as well as the Nigerian blood is still flowing in the veins of those who are doing it. That's why the education is suffering today. Today we have half-baked graduates who read mechanical engineer, but they cannot fix their tire. Who read medical, but they cannot even know how to. There are people, I learned that there are people that are operating, they want to operate somebody, either appendicitis. There's a medical doctor also, in quote, they put on a television as they're watching when they watch how they put knife, when they watch how
live human being.
yes, but they have read medical doctor. They want to be so that they can japa.
Yeah.
They want to go, but they have nothing to offer.
Now,
So this technical something, so long as Nigerian blood is still flowing, unless you can bring people, unless you bring people from Ghana and Cameroon, can't you see today you want to tile your house, you can look for guys from Togo. But thank God for Peter Mba with the introduction of smart school, whereby learning is going to be experiential learning, not the theory learning. And if you finish, you can tile your house, you can paint, you can draw. If you go to GTC Enugu, you see students learning. A child of JS3 can learn how to even wire. He can fix your electric fan. A child in GTC Enugu who read catering can be able to cook your food for you because he's reading catering. So not what we are doing now. There are going to be, so long as it's Nigerian blood, there'll be problem. They'll tell that gen spoiled, even when the gen is not spoiled, and there'll darkness everywhere.
All right, then just before we conclude, because of time, are the supervisors trained at all ahead of the exams? and what training are going to be given to the students. We've already highlighted that some of these schools might lack the basic
Facilities, exactly, building.
everything.
Some doesn't have some doesn't have good
Where
halls.
are they going to get this training from? Even the facilitators, the people that is supervisors, as they call, are they being trained? What training is going on currently?
Thank you very much. The supervisors actually need to have what we call orientation. We call them in exam. We call them coordination because I've worked in the exam development center. You ask me how I climbed the ladder. I've worked in the examination development center as a principal education officer. There's what we call coordination. Before you start any exam, like first school leaving certificates, common entrance exam, the people that are going to supervise, they'll be assembled like Nike Grammar School in a big hall. People will tell them the ABC, the do's and the don'ts. They'll be prepared. So the supervisors will be groomed for the exercise. But the corruption there is that you see somebody who is not a teacher. Because one of the criteria to become a supervisor is that you must be a teacher teaching in a secondary school. But you find somebody who having shop at Obete. The person will maneuver. How you get the form, you may not know. That's the problem we're having now is that forms are given.
Unqualified people.
Hear me out. The question you ask now, supervisors need to be trained and coordinated. But there are people that will not come for the coordination. But they will carry bag that day on the exam day. You say, where are you going? He say, I'm going to one of the secondary school. But he didn't come for coordination. When you attend the do's and don'ts. So government makes sure
why
that
are they even allowed into the hall in the first place?
corruption. Government makes sure that there's coordination. But some people will not come for the coordination, but they will find their way in the exam hall. Let me tell you, there's somebody they caught in Enugu. He comes from Port Harcourt. Anytime there's Waec exam, he'll come from where? Port Harcourt to supervise because he know money will exchange hand. Maybe they write English, may get like 100K. Then they write mathematics, they get like 120K. But the guy has been smashed through the effort of the present chairman of PPSMB.
But it's not a Waec.
No, not even teaching in secondary school. He smuggles. He will tell me how he smuggles corruption. So Waec, every year Waec used to bring out examination forms. This examination is meant for teachers teaching in secondary school who will be trained, who will be coordinated. But some of these touts, I call them touts, who are not teachers in secondary school, they have nothing to do in the education system, but because of what they will get through the back door, because they know that Waec brings money, especially English and maths, physics, chem, and biology. But now they have been smashed by the present PPSMB, post-primary school management. They are in fact, the government is very proactive. Last year and this year, it's not business as usual in Enugu State, as far as Waec is concerned. If you pass any paper, you pass it from your knowledge. So I want to let you know that government gives them training, what we call them coordination. Anybody who didn't participate in the coordination will not participate because he may not know the do's and the don'ts. So we need God to help us. In fact, we need ethical orientation for Nigerians. Nigerians is something else. We need God to help. There are good Nigerians, but the bad ones are spoiling the system. But I know God helping us. The good ones will overshadow the bad ones.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Reverend, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank you.
Reverend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, so we'll go on a short break. We'll have our next guest to join us in the studio to stay with us.
We are local.
International communities observing just finished taking why the main market is in chaos. People are
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.